Folks, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour's 9th annual Halloween Bash. And I want to thank each and every single person who is out there watching and listening. And today I have on the podcast with me Mr. Uncle Bill from DEADPIT Radio. What's up, my man?
Howdy, folks. Not much, man. Just living up in beautiful downtown Martin, Kentucky, you know.
Oh, yeah. They're destroying downtown Martin. I don't know. Have you been there lately?
Oh yeah, I have to drive through there every day. It's like we could use it for a horror movie. It's a set for like a ghost town horror film. Yeah,
I'm hoping that they redo Martin and do it good. Do it some justice, man. Because I've lived here for a long time, and I know you probably lived here for a long time, and we need something good here for sure.
Yeah, it's really depressing. Like I don't know, not many people, but if you can just imagine like a ghost town, that's exactly what it is. It's like everything's boarded up in downtown, and like. I don't know. It is sad, but I hope they do something.
You know what, man? I'm surprised that someone ain't went and like stole one of the utility trucks or the actual dozers or whatever, start driving it through Martin.
Yeah, that's true. They leave that stuff sit there, and people are like, yeah, around here how they are. Just get in there and get hopped up, go driving down the road.
Put on Facebook for sale.
Yeah, steal the carburetor out of it, or what is it? They steal the.
Oh God! Yeah, how stupid can you be stealing carburetors? I mean, come on, folks. Oh man,
it's great. It's Eastern Kentucky though.
Hey,
that's what you got to do.
Look at Hazard High School. I mean, oh my God!
Oh God, I saw that. I was dying laughing at that.
But the funny part is, man. Some of that happened when we was in grade school. Well, not grade school, but high school. You know what I'm saying?
The only difference is that people didn't have phones. And like, you know what I mean? Like if that same stuff's been going on forever, but people just now kind of catching up.
Oh, yeah. So, man, you guys are back into the swing of things. You and Creepy Kentuckian. Did you guys just get burnt out for a while? Just needed a refresher pretty much, or just took a break to build the website and put everything up?
It was more so the first one, and I think a couple different things happened. Wes got, or CK, as you call him, got married, and kind of, that changed a lot. And then I had kids, and that changed a lot. And then we did get burnt out too, man, because like we were doing stuff that nobody should really be doing. Like we were reviewing 4 and 5 movies a week, or each time we did a show. And we were basically, our lives were kind of revolving around that show for a long time. Like we were trying to get people, trying to get interviews like every week, and trying to, come up with a new show every week and a new idea every week, and maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Because we would do like in between that, we would do, short films and like on the roads where we go see movies and kind of review them. And like, it just got to the point where we saw so many bad films. Like so much shit and so many independent films that were awful, and it just fried our brains, I think. And we just kind of faded away,
I understand that 1,000%, except for the kid parts that, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I might have kids out there. I don't know. But, yeah, I've been doing this for 11 years and I do this every week.
Yeah.
And like you said, trying to get interviews. See, that's what people don't understand. It's cool to do these. It's very cool. But the work don't come in until after the interview. And after you go to a convention or a music festival, that's when everything starts rolling back again into play, because you got to get interviews. You got to start doing your research. You got to edit. You got to review. You got to do this, do that. It is so much of a task to do that one person just can't do it.
No. And I'll be honest with you, like back in the day, I was meticulous about, like, I would have pages of notes about the person I was going to interview and just questions that I wanted to ask and things like that. And you're right, a lot of research went into all that stuff because you didn't want to get on there and have dead air or anything like that. But nowadays, I don't take any notes. I just kind of like go with the flow of the conversation, because it's just easier and you don't get burnt out. And I actually think people prefer that because, we were talking about, like, before the show came on, like, a lot of these guys don't want to talk about the same shit like over and over and over again. And you can tell when you lose somebody. Like they just drift into the same answers they've given like 1,000 times. And it's just boring.
Here they go. As I said in 2 weeks ago, I'm like, I didn't hear it 2 weeks ago, dumbass.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand completely. Trust me, I completely understand. And I love what you guys are doing right now because I've been watching the videos and stuff. And Wes, or Creepy Kentucky and Wes, he cracks me up because when he makes fun of Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis.
Yeah.
What's Michael? What's he doing now?
Yeah, that's the big thing now. We went and saw Halloween Kills. I don't know, like, what your opinion is on it, or if you've seen it even. But
I haven't seen it yet. But man, I try to step away from what you guys do and review it. My hand was like, click. I couldn't do it.
It's just there's so much shit in that movie that's hilarious. Like so much bad like dialogue that we've got. It's like a gold mine for us. We just keep bringing shit up. Yeah, when there's a random scene where they bring back there's a guy that they got like prosthetics on that's made to look like, you know, Loomis from the original Halloween, and it looks pretty much like him, but the voice is awful. So he just runs in for one scene that's like a flashback scene, and he's like, he runs into a house and he's talking to a cop, and he's like, "Did Michael kill again?" And that's like, and we were trying to figure out like who the fuck just runs into a house and is like, that's their line of dialogue. Like, wouldn't you be like, you know, what's going on? What happened? Like, that movie is just full of stuff like that.
Yeah, I was doing that all day yesterday at work. I was going, "Where's Michael? Have you seen him? He's coming back soon."
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, oh yeah. But I haven't seen Halloween Kills, and my brother Brian Ward, he is a huge Halloween fan, just like us, man. And he said it's shit.
It is. I don't know how else to say. Like, and there's a lot of people that we know that are like that are higher up nowadays in the horror realm than we are, that are just like gushing over that movie and saying like how great it is. And I just watched it and was like, this is like just one of the worst things, because it tries to just appeal to the nostalgia of the Halloween series to the point where everything has a purpose, even if it didn't have a purpose in the original Halloween. Like, you know, the room that Michael Myers was in when he killed his sister is like, he goes back to that room and he stands there and looks out the window, and like everything has to have a purpose, but it's just stupid. Like every stupid plot point you could put in a movie, they put into this movie, and there's so much bad acting and bad dialogue in it. And it kind of, to me, kind of ruins that, because I like 2018. Like, I thought that was a decent movie, like the Halloween remake, but this one just kind of just drags that down really bad. So
do you think that they just made this like a throwback remembrance movie? You know, to me, that's crazy. I wouldn't have done that.
I think that the only purpose of this movie was they were thinking, okay, we've remade it now, so the next step is we're going to kill as many people as possible, and don't pay attention to the plot or the characters or anything else like that, because people don't give a shit, and that's going to be the whole movie. And that's what they did. And for people like me, and I think for CK to some degree or another, the people that are really into the mythology of the Halloween films, it was kind of like they just shit all over it. They really just buried it just to, you know, kill a bunch of people for the fans.
But if they had not done the nostalgic stuff, man, and all the remembrance and throwbacks and all that stuff, if they went right into, say, like where the house was on fire at the end of the movie, of the first one,
right,
and picked right off back, like right that, do you think the movie would have been better?
Yeah, I think that the logical thing to have done would have been just like they did in Halloween 2, the original, which they tried to do it here, but they screwed it up by going back and forth from the past and the present. And like, that's what I hate about movies like this, when they try to fuck with the original movies by going back and recreating like plot points, you know, that may have happened in the originals, but that, you know, never really did. If they would have just stuck to like, okay, so Michael gets out of there, he kills all the people with the firefighters and all that, and he just like makes his way to the hospital, gets into the hospital, and, you know, tries to get to her. If they would have just stuck with that simplest thing ever, that would have saved the movie, I think.
I think Michael came into your house just then because I heard a bloody scream.
Yeah, you'll hear a lot of that. Yeah.
Oh, it's great though, man. What about your kids though? Do they dig the horror stuff or no?
Oh yeah, that's the weirdest thing about it. Like, my oldest has got like her own show. It's called Peep Creeps. That she does she does reviews of horror films that they've seen. So like she was doing Child's Play, and what was the other one she did? She watched Witchboard of all freaking things, and did like she would do reviews of that, like live stream them. I'm just like, this is amazing.
I was watching Dracula AD 1972 the other day, and I thought about you guys. I was like, I wonder what the hell these guys would think about this movie, because I like those old school movies like that. Now,
yeah,
they're kind of dry, you know, but still, it's got a good plot, and it's right there, and it's nothing stupid back in the day. At least I think so. But those are great movies, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies like that though that I think that's the thing that's missing from whatever's coming out nowadays is any kind of attempt to have plot and characters, or, you know, any kind of depth or anything like that. Like I don't know. I haven't seen a whole lot of stuff lately that gives me a lot of hope. Not in the theater anyway. I've seen some great films like away from the theater, but you know, when it comes to mainstream stuff, they're not making anything.
It seems like the streaming services, man, is where it's at for some of the new horror stuff. And I'm like, that blows my mind. A lot of Japanese stuff is just way out there. It blows us away right now.
But, what's the big thing right now? I haven't seen it, but the Squid Game is like one of the biggest, you know, I guess that's a horror film. It's kind of like Battle Royale to me. I haven't seen it, but I'm guessing that's kind of what it's like.
God, I almost said Squidbillies. Good God.
Squidbillies. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, because my buddy Donald was telling me about it. He's like, man, you got to watch it. But I'm like you, the way he was describing it, man, it's like horror games. It's like, man, why copycat?
Yeah.
Just do your own thing, you know? Like, I watched a movie not long ago called Shudder. Not the actual streaming service Shudder, the actual film called Shudder. Like Kevin Shutter. And the lady in the movie kind of put me in like The Ring, you know?
Yeah. I remember watching that a long, long time ago. I can't remember that much, but we saw, man, like there was this company called Tartan Asian Extreme that was coming out with like everything like that, and we were getting those screeners, and we saw like every like ghosts in a phone booth and ghosts in a recording studio and ghosts in a fucking, you know, nightclub, like anything you can imagine that would have ghosts in it. Like they would just throw a ghost in it. That was Japan's thing back in the day.
So here's my thing with Halloween. Are you wanting to see Michael killed off in 3? Do you think this is okay? We've had enough of this. I mean, what else? What's going to take to end this franchise? Because you don't want to see Michael in like an electric wheelchair coming after somebody. You know,
I want to see them all die. I want to see Jamie Lee Curtis get killed and like Michael get killed somewhere. But it's, you know as well as I do, it's never over. Like they'll 5 years down the road, maybe shorter of time than that, they'll reboot the whole thing. But I'm guessing this next one will be Jamie Lee Curtis's last film, because I don't think she can really do that anymore.
It's like we said, man. How long can you go with this? I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis, 80-year-old down the road, still fighting with Michael. Oh God, he mixed up her medicine. Oh God,
that'll be the next logical thing. Yeah, like she mixed her medicine up in the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday thing. Like there really is nowhere else to go.
No,
like that woman. It kind of reminds me too of the new Scream movie that's getting ready to come out, Scream 5.
God.
Because how many times can you terrorize fucking Sidney Prescott? Like she's been through 5 movies now where it's been the same thing. And like that character, if they don't kill her off, that's like just been so like overdone at this point. Like the same thing.
Yeah. And so has Final Destination, man.
Yeah. That's a whole other.
Good God. Okay. First 2's good. You know, okay. I can tolerate them. Stop after that with that series because it's just so stupid.
Yeah, man. Like the Final Destination thing, I actually really liked the first couple of those movies, but after a point, it's just like you run that concept into the ground. Like they keep doing it though.
The one franchise, man, that really kind of kind of excites me when I see a new one coming out is Saw. And the reason why I say that is because they're trying to find different ways to torture people. You know?
Well, I haven't seen the last one, Spiral, I guess. And that one's like supposed to be kind of like a reboot, isn't it? Like
I think
so. That was kind of the idea. But that series lost me at like 5 or 6. I don't know the original. Like I got to 5 or 6, and I was like, I got no idea what's going on anymore. Like he's got stuff hidden in his ass. Like he's got, those little chips like hidden somewhere, and like, and they're recorders and stuff like in his body. That kind of got crazy.
Hey, at least I thank God there's no like 5 gremlins that are out there. At least there's 2 gremlins.
Yeah. But there's, the stuff that I watch nowadays, the stuff that I like is, there's a guy named Ari Aster who, I don't know if you've heard of these films, but he made Hereditary and he made, God bless, my mind's blanking on this one. Midsummer. Yeah. And those films are just insane. Like he was actually trying to do something different with the genre, which I don't see a lot of people doing. And I love that stuff. I actually really, really liked Midnight Mass on Netflix, which is like a new vampire style kind of film. Like they never really call them vampires in it, but you can kind of assume that's what they are. But it's a great mini series. That's on there.
I like the new Child's Play that's out right now. I mean, the acting's kind of bad, but I mean, for what you get for TV, hey, it's good. Cheesy the better for me.
I actually watched the first episode of that like a couple days ago because people kept talking about it, and I was like, I've got to see like what this is about. And it's like exactly kind of what I would think. Like you said, like the teenagers in it are horrible, and I don't really understand them, but the plot and the way that they pull off some of the kills in it are pretty cool.
And a lot of my friends didn't understand why I liked redneck zombies, and I was like, the reason is because it's a B movie, it's a cheesy movie, and it's like a homemade video. I mean, it's good. I love stuff like that. I like B-sides. Yeah,
that's a classic, man, from back in the day. Used to watch that all the time. Like, isn't it like Killer Moonshine or something like that? That's turning them into the zombies.
It's like toxic. It's like toxic stuff that got into the water stream. Then they, took the water out of the water stream, put it in their moonshine, and good old Eastern Kentucky.
That's a great idea. That's a trauma idea for sure.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, those are great, and I loved going to Scarefest back in the day because you could find all kinds of old school stuff like that. Just I could eat all that stuff up any day.
Yeah, I think those two companies, though, like for B movies, Trauma and Full Moon, are like, they're amazing. Or they were amazing. They don't really put out that much anymore, but
that's what I was getting ready to ask you, man. There's not really much stuff from Trauma or Full Moon anymore, are they? Hardly anything.
No. I mean, the only thing I see Full Moon doing anymore is like they're selling their box sets of Puppet Master and Subspecies and friggin', just these huge box sets. They don't really make anything anymore. And Trauma's kind of the same way. They just release stuff on Blu-ray now, like re-release a lot of the older stuff that they've done. The independent companies are just kind of dead. Like that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I loved Puppet Master. First couple Puppet Masters were just, oh man, great A stuff. And then, like you said, it just kind of just dwindles off to Never Neverland.
I watched the last one. It's like, what was it? Like, I don't remember the name of it exactly, but I was just like, Jesus God, like this is almost unwatchable. The last Puppet Master is like Axis of Evil or something, maybe. It was brutal.
There's one movie that's coming out. I've seen them advertise on. It's called Antlers.
Yeah, I've seen that too, and I don't know what the hell it is. But it's got a lot of word of mouth. I know that because it keeps coming up.
Mm-hmm. I was hoping it's not like, Quiet Place or something like that, because that's kind of what it puts me in mind of the setting wise of it, out in the woods, of course, out of nowhere. And but yeah, it looks good, but those commercials are the spoilers, folks. That's the whole movie. Those are good parts.
That's true, man. Like they really kill it nowadays with the trailers and everything now.
So for you, man, what was it what horror movie I should say? What was it that got you into horror movies? What was it that like got your attention with like, yeah, this is what I want to watch. I mean, this is my favorite thing now.
Well, a couple things, like two things really. When I was a kid, and I mean like way too young to be watching shit like this, like 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
My dad would rent stuff from New World Video, which was basically a trailer that had, this old time video rental place. And I don't know what he was doing, like, but he would rent the shit. The shit that I saw at that age was like Basket Case and Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead and just Brain Dead, like Dead Alive, stuff like that. And that's kind of what originally got me into horror films because he liked them, I guess. Like we just watched whatever he wanted to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was a teenager, something else really kind of like left an impression on me. I don't know if you remember this, but there was I don't know if you ever knew this guy. There was a dude around Prestonsburg, and everybody called him Boogie. And he was like really severely burned in some sort of a fire. And I don't know exactly what happened or anything, but he collected horror films. His big thing was horror films. And he actually lived in Lexington, and he would go up there and he would like get all these horror films and he would bring them back in this series of like totes, and they were VHS tapes at that time.
Oh, good old stuff.
And it was like shit that I had never seen, but he would sell them for like $10-15 a piece. So it's like Lucio Fulci's Zombie and Cannibal Ferox. And I can remember like a lot of Italian stuff that he had and stuff like that. And I just went over there and bought like a bunch of that stuff. And just something about him, and like he was really into. He played music too. He actually played in a band down there. He played bass in Lexington for a band, and they would play shit like Diamond Head and like Danzig and just different stuff like that. I remember him doing "Am I Demon," and like just it was just bizarre because that's another thing about him too. Like he would dress up in like a clown outfit. So imagine a guy like his whole face was burned, right? So he kind of like he looked like the guy he looked almost like exactly like the guy from The Burning, if anybody's seen that movie. And in a clown outfit, like a full clown outfit, playing a bass and like singing. He sang along with it. And so anyway, there's just something so bizarre about that it got me into back into it. And then when CK came along after that, and we were just bored to death, to be honest, like just living around here and there's nothing to do. And like, nobody gives a shit about the stuff that we gave a shit about, metal and horror films and things like that, or a very few amount of people do around here. And so just to have something to do, we kind of started the show. But yeah, those are kind of the ways that I got into horror film.
Yeah, music in horror movies for me was kind of like an escape, Yeah. It was like, I don't know. I got bullied some when I was in high school and everything. I mean, everybody did. Everybody got took shots at, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, for me, that was fun stuff. Watching horror movies and jamming out to Metallica and Slayer and Danzig, and especially Danzig's Black Aria. Oh my God, that's some good stuff.
That's all we ever did though. And like, I mean, in high school, like all I did was play music and watch wrestling and horror films. I'll say that, like those two things. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So what's your thoughts on AEW?
To be honest with you, the only show that I watched was the one where CM Punk came back. And I know that makes me kind of like a fair weather fan, but WWE just fucking killed it for me. Like, about over a year ago, I stopped watching wrestling just completely because I couldn't stand it. Like, I understand that AEW is great now. I mean, that's what everybody tells me, and that like they definitely got the talent. I can't get back into watching it.
AEW is actually pretty damn good. I'll give them that. I like it. I watch it every Wednesday, and tonight Rampage is on. And it's, I mean, there's still some bumps and stuff that that are bad. There's some bad wrestling at it, but I mean, It's still good, man. It puts me in mind of the old WCW, like Monday Nitro, and you got, and especially like Monday Night Raw. I mean, it to me, it's good stuff.
But I want to, yeah, man, I want to get back into it. I do. It's just getting myself into a habit of watching something every week like that again.
Yeah,
like two times a week, I think, isn't it? Like,
yeah, Wednesdays and Fridays.
Yeah.
That's
but
like go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say they got one of the best heels, MJF, like just one of the best heels going.
God, he's like Ric Flair and good God, Triple H, and who else was horrible? I mean, just
the way that he does that gimmick is amazing.
Oh God, yeah. But if he's pissing people off, he's doing his job, folks.
Yeah. So he really takes it too far, but that's kind of what you got to do, for that to work.
Yeah, because just like in horror movies, everything's been done over and over and over. That man. But I'm like you, yeah. You've got to push that envelope. You've got to push that button. And yeah, this is good right now with Sting and Darby, and then their angle that they're doing, and everybody loves Darby, and now they're bringing up Darby's past supposedly, and I don't know, man. It's good. I don't think he would last in Eastern Kentucky if he came for a night. I don't think that, you know that better than I do. Yeah, so good stuff, man, from AEW so far. I know they signed some more talent, but it's like you've got all this locker room full of those wrestlers. It's like, and you're letting them develop their own character and do their own thing. It's just like, well, when do you stop to say, no, you can't do this. No, you don't deserve a title. You only been here for 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
well, it's like ECW 2.0.
Yeah,
it really is. Like they've got these group of people they'll kind of let do their own thing, which is where the best ideas come from. But you kind of see what can happen with that too. Like you take it too far, and people, it can get out of control.
Did you see this, man, where Jonathan Davis from Korn is actually playing in a new horror movie called The Devil's Tree?
No.
Yes.
No, I didn't.
But he's playing a character called the Pet, who pretty much finds endless comedy in killing people.
Well, let's be honest. Like very, very few times does a musician come into horror or any kind of film really and it turned out well. Like if you look at Dee Snider and what he did, that didn't go well.
I still have not watched that movie, and I don't plan on watching it.
No, you probably shouldn't. Rob Zombie, depending on who you are, what you feel about him, he's probably the most successful musician to ever do that. Danzig made a movie, by the way. I don't know if you've seen it. Veronica. Yeah. So very few people have any success coming from music to horror film.
So Veronica, was that the previous? Well, not previous. The recent one that he just released.
Yeah, it was like
I thought.
Yeah, that was like maybe a year ago that he put that out.
Yeah, like a vampire movie.
It was it was like his. He had a comic book, I think, that was based on that, and made it into a film. And it's violence and erotica, so it's Verotica, and it's just like an anthology, like a series of a couple of different stories in this one thing. And oh my god, it's fucking hilariously bad.
Oh, wow.
I would love to tell you that it's good. I would love to tell you that, but you've got to see it. If you haven't seen it, you've got to see it.
It blows my mind on how much bad movies are out there right now.
Pretty much, yeah. Like 95% of everything. Yeah.
Like I said, it blows my mind because all of it's been done. I mean, all the slashers have been done. I mean, there's ways of, changing it some, but all in all, it's still going to be the same thing. You still got the same plots, but I'm not giving up on horror. I know there's going to be a new genre that comes out with it that's going to take it to another plateau. At least I think so soon, hopefully.
But there's always horror is one of the only genres I can think of where it kind of comes in waves. Like when we started in 2005, it was the torture porn stuff, the hostels and the captivity and all that stuff that came out around that time. That got really big, and that kind of reinvigorated horror, and then everybody started doing remakes. And that was like the big thing for years. And it died like a slow death, like the last couple of years. It's just been like horror films have slowly just been kind of dying. And the only thing that makes any money anymore is like the big franchises that come out with like the Halloween stuff like that. But that being said, like what you're saying is right. Like there'll be another cycle, like something else will catch on, and people will get back into it for a couple years, and they'll die again and like come back. It constantly does that.
It's like music, same way. Like when punk rock hit, an alternative is like metal kind of took a back seat, and I hate to say that, and I love metal music, love it.
Yeah,
but there was bands still putting music out, but they kind of went the alternative way. And I mean, everybody can call Metallica sellout if they want to, but they went to where the money was. I mean, honestly, do you think Metallica probably would have sold a metal album huge back in the alternative days when it was real big? I
don't think anything would have sold then.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was just, I grew up right in the, like, that was my kind of like, I was in my late teens when all that shit happened, right? Early 20s. So it was like, I can remember vividly, like Metallica coming out with Load, and just people losing their fucking minds and just like talking about them cutting their hair and all that shit and just how horrible it was. And actually, looking back now, I actually think that those two albums were better than like a lot of the shit that was supposedly like their, return to metal that they put out years after that. Like those albums were still listenable.
Oh, they're still good. Oh, they're absolutely great. I love Hardwired to Self-Destruct. I think that's a great album right now. But to each is their own. Everybody finds like an era that they like, and that's cool. And Load, Reload. There's like 15 Unforgivens.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't really understand that part of it, but yeah.
Yeah, but like Slayer, I know I heard Kerry King bitching about it, but I understand those guys because, hey, they got killed out pretty much. Metal was. You had very few bands that were still putting out metal albums during that time. And
that's true.
And if they did, the sad part is nobody really talked about it unless you picked up a magazine like Hit Parade or Circus or something like that. Rip, then it would be in there and talking about it. Which mainstream media and TV, man, kills me on stuff like that because they only talk about what's hot, what's new, what's in. And I think
man, like right now, I talk about horror films being dead, but there's nothing deader than metal. Like the shit that's on the radio now, like I don't even know what the hell it is. Like there's no rock music really at all. Like that gets any kind of mainstream attention. Like it's just the worst cavalcade of pop and hip hop and shit like that. That's just awful.
And if you do hear something rock, it's like 5 years ago.
Oh yeah. It's the Foo Fighters or something from like 10 years ago. It's the only rock music I ever hear on the radio of any kind.
I like Foo Fighters. I like Chili Peppers. I like a lot of stuff, man. But I don't be listening to radio. And here's, blah, blah, blah from 5 years ago, 6 years ago. They got new stuff out, guys.
Like, yeah.
Didn't you get the emails for
like who is making rock music anymore? Like, I mean, back in, it shows how old I am, but like back in the 90s and shit, at least like when grunge was going on, you still had people making hard rock and metal, and that was still like a subgenre, even though it was kind of like it went underground, but it was still there. Like nowadays, like I don't know who the hell is doing that anymore.
Black Label is coming out with a new album November 26th, Black Friday, of course. That's actually pretty cool. It's actually pretty smart. Black Friday on Black Label.
Black Label, yeah.
So I'm a diehard BLS fan, man. Metallica, Danzig, stuff like that. Misfits, of course, which they'll never come out with a new album because they just can't. It's all about the money, unfortunately.
I was thinking about that today, actually. Like, I was thinking about the fact that I love and every year I'll listen to the Misfits this time of year because it's the perfect time of the year to do it. And I love Danzig's albums, but I just feel like he is kind of a douche. Like he's, like he gets into the fight with the guy that KOs him. What was it, like the Southside Kings or something like that?
I don't know. I saw that video, man. He's just standing there and that dude just bam, just knocks the shit out of him. He's 1, 2.
Yeah. And then there's all these stories of him like just acting like a diva, like on these festivals and things like that. So I don't know. I just kind of feel like he is the main reason why a lot of that stuff will never happen. Like there won't be another Misfits album. There probably won't be a tour like that again unless he needs some money or whatever. But it's just sad.
I saw the Danzig 25th anniversary tour that had a Pale Horse Named Dead. That's a good band you need to check out. If you like typo negative, sludgy stuff, doom stuff, those guys are awesome. They got a new album out too, which all their albums are freaking amazing to me. But I went to go watch them down Louisville, and one of the guys I know who owns the place, he said during rehearsal, Glenn got pissed, and he walked outside and he kicked the door wide open. He's like, man, I didn't think his little leg was going to reach up and kick that door open.
That's another thing people don't realize about Danzig. He's about my size. Yeah, he's about like 5'7" or something, maybe. But he's trying to act like a badass. It's just not going to happen,
The reason why I wanted to go watch it, man, is because they were doing the Misfits songs. Him and Doyle.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, any true Misfits fan, I went to go see with just Glenn and Doyle. I mean, come on. They were hitting note for note. I mean, it was just like he was watching all the Misfits up there. But Glenn didn't even have to do anything, Uncle Bill. All he had to do was just hit the note, man, hit the guitar. That was it. Everybody just sung the rest of it. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, those songs, like, pretty much. I think somebody was asking me the other day, like, what's a good Misfits song? I'm like, all of them. Literally, like, pick any of them, like, and they're all like amazing. Like, I can't think of a bad Misfits song.
No, I know you like the Graves era, but I even dug the Michael Graves era too. I don't have no preference, man. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, he had like a good run there for a while too.
Yeah,
American.
They had American Horror.
Was American Psycho or
American Psycho? That's it.
Yeah.
And then they had Famous Monsters.
Yep.
And I think that was the last one that they did with him. But still, their live stuff, man, is uncomparable to their, on album. I'll say that. If you get a chance, man, you need to check them out live because that's where it's at. Because you'll have 15 songs, or maybe I'm just gonna throw this out there. Be crazy because Uncle Bill he'll vouch for me on this. Misfits can play 30, 40 songs in 30 minutes.
Oh yeah. They're like the Ramones. Like they're just, if you don't like this song, here's another one like 2 minutes.
God, the Ramones. I sit here and I watch them on YouTube, and they go like 1,000 miles an hour, like a machine during their live shows.
And I'll be honest with you, like I think they're towards the end for the Ramones. It got to the point where mostly Johnny was just trying to like get through those shows. Like I think they kind of got burned out to the point where like, let's play them as fast as we can so we can get the fuck out of here. It's almost kind of unlistenable when you get to that era because they're so fast that you're just like, you don't even know what the hell's going on in the song because they were just like going through them so quick.
Are you guys going to try to hit up the convention scene again like you guys used to or anything, or just trying to lay low for now and build back up or what?
Well, Wes, he did Fright Night, which is a show in Louisville, and he did like a screening down there. I didn't get to go to that one. That was a con. And then Scarefest came along. We missed that one. I would like to, especially something like Whorehound, which is like one of the bigger shows. They got like a lot of big name people. But to be honest with you, like we did that for 10, 11 years straight. And I've gotten everybody, like I've met everybody I really want to meet. I've talked to everybody I really want to talk to. The only reason to go would be just to hang out with people. And that would be the reason we would go at this point.
Yeah, I miss doing Scarefest because I used to get a lot of interviews. And then Then I started doing Louder Than Life. I've covered every Louder Than Life event since its existence, except for this year because of COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
And plus, I was in a freaking hospital Stupid ass. But anyway, Metallica was there. I would have loved to have got to just, hell, I would have interviewed Rob Trujillo, and people give him shit, but man, Rob Trujillo is a phenomenal bass player. He's been with several bands, you know, Black Label. He's been with Suicidal Tendencies. He's been with what's that one? I could never think of the first band he was with.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Him and Dean Pleasance from Suicidal Tendencies was in it.
It's a pretty popular band too, and I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah. But anyway, but Rob and Ozzy, Rob's played with Ozzy Osbourne, folks. And then when this is the craziest thing, people's gonna say, "Oh, that's a lie. That never happened." Yes, it did. Pretty much, Metallica swapped Jason Newsted when he left Metallica. They just swapped bass players pretty much. Rob went to Metallica, Jason went to Ozzy. So it was so weird seeing Jason up there in Ozzy's band and not with Metallica. You know, it's like, oh God, I don't know how I feel about this.
I don't know. I miss that era of Metallica, by the way, the Jason Newsted era. But I mean, I agree with you though. Like that's just nostalgia for me. Like Trio is an amazing bass player. Like I don't know who would give him shit or why they would give him shit. Who they need to be giving shit is Kirk Hammett with his fucking wah pedal and everything. Like nowadays, Jesus.
I think poor Kirk is just trying to come with anything out of the box that's not been done before. I mean, my God, what else can the band do? I mean, they do the orchestra stuff. I like that. I don't see what else this band can do. You know what I'm saying? It's like a horror movie. How much more can you go?
Well, there's this theory. I agree with it too. That these bands they have like a set amount of time, which is there where they can like put out material. And in other words, like your best material, you have like a window of time, and then after that, like it just kind of declines, and further and further. You may come up with one or two more songs, but you're not going to come up with an album of like songs like that you used to. And that's pretty much across the board. You can watch that with like all bands, really. Like I love Slayer. I've always loved Slayer since I was like a teenager, but their golden era was like the mid '80s and into, and nowadays they got one or two good songs, and then there's a lot of kind of filler in those albums.
And a lot of bands these days that it's not like the 70s and 80s, like let's go to the club, man. Maybe we'll get discovered. We got to hit all these clubs. Nowadays, these bands, they're producing their own stuff. They don't need, a record label or anything like that. They're doing their own stuff, which blows my mind. And some of these bands are doing well off on their own. And it's so crazy how, you look back then on how stuff was recording till now and how they're putting stuff out. It's so wild, man. So wild.
Yeah. I mean, is there a record industry really anymore? Like in the way that it was? Yeah.
They're still there, but not as much as you think, because I see independent bands, even big bands that's doing stuff on their own, and they've got their own labels. Like, again, Metallica has Blackened. That's their record label. So there's a lot of bands that's doing their own stuff, and I want to intertwine that with like the horror movies. Do you think eventually, man, it's just all going to be straight to? I know some of them have been straight to video, straight to streaming, or are we going to be able to rent movies anymore like that? Or what's your thoughts on that possibly?
Well, there's a theory too that we've been talking about on the show a lot, that physical media, meaning like Blu-rays and 4K and stuff like that, like will get just completely swallowed up by streaming, and within the next like 5 years, to the point where you may not, if you get a chance to buy a Blu-ray, like it'll be insanely expensive, and there'll be just a few companies that'll be doing it, and the rest of it will be streaming. It's just kind of the way things seem to be going. And I just don't think it's going to be the same, like in terms of, you own a copy of something, and that time period is already kind of gone, and it will really be gone soon. And yeah, like I think that the only mainstream horror films that'll come out for a while will be franchise, like either sequels or reboots, and that'll be it in the theaters. because theaters don't really exist anymore, man, since COVID. Like everything's home theater now. Like they released the last Halloween film the same, you know, to that streaming service the same day that they did the freaking theaters.
Yeah, it was Peacock. It's Peacock.
Yeah.
And I was only going to subscribe to Peacock and just watch it and then be done with it, then unsubscribe.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people do. Like these movies will come along and they'll subscribe for like a month and then that'll be it.
Yeah, because I was going to watch it. I mean, I know a lot of people gave it shit, but I'm a true Halloween fan, man. I've got.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody should see it. You know,
especially when you see a woman standing there with an iron to take Michael Myers out.
It's just bad. Like you'll see. I mean, but it's kind of a bummer for me because all of this stuff is kind of going underground, and like we used to go to the theater every week and see a new horror film, like when we were doing the on the road stuff. And now there might be a horror film come out every like 2 months or something, like that gets to the theaters. So it's really kind of gone downhill.
Anything coming up for DEADPIT Radio that you want to throw in here before we end the Halloween bash, not the annual Halloween bash here in BODS Mayhem Hour, man?
Yeah. We got right now, that's kind of the reason I'm wearing this shirt. We got an interview with Kevin Tenney, who is the guy that directed Night of the Demons. That's a lot of people's like favorite Halloween themed film. Takes place on Halloween. He did Witchboard and Night of the Demons and some other stuff too. And we got an interview with him up right now on the YouTube page. And we've always got DEAPIT on Patreon, and where you can join and kind of become a Patreon member, where Wes is putting up like all the old shows. We're talking about like 11, 12 years worth of like podcasts. We probably did 2 or 3 a week. So, you know, you can imagine how much shit that is.
Oh yeah.
And like, so he's putting all that stuff up. If you're a Patreon member, like you can get access to all that stuff.
Dude, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, like, and we do shit like, for the people that are like certain Patreon members, that we'll do like roundtables that they can join and things like that. Those are actually like some of the most popular shows that we have. Like people seem to really like the roundtable stuff too. And
it keeps it fresh. Keeps the podcast fresh.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. We always have new people kind of coming in and out.
That's like I said, man, I got into YouTube about 4.5, maybe 5 years after I started BODS Mayhem Hour. So I'm like you guys. I got stuff that I go back and listen to, and I'm trying to edit, you know, to put up, and I cringe. I'm like, oh, I sound horrible.
Well, it's depressing in a way because like podcasts were like the big thing for a long time, right? Mm-hmm. And then I didn't even really know about YouTube in like doing live streams and things like that for a long ass time. But that would have been the way to go, like, you know, years ago. But it didn't really catch on for us. Like we kind of missed that boom, and you know, we're just kind of catching up right now.
Yeah, I got 6-something subscribers on YouTube, and man, I hope it just. I wish it'd get more, but hey, you can only do what you can do, and I like what I put out, my product, and like we talked earlier, there's only so much you can do with these podcasts, man. I mean, I know a lot of these TikTok stars and these YouTube stars. I mean, I've even offered to eat, you know, a bologna sandwich and sing Baby Shark without my shirt on to get subscribers on YouTube.
It's difficult. Yeah,
it is. It's very difficult. And I try to have people to intertwine with it, but like, it's just so hard, man.
There's too much shit though on YouTube. That's one of the things that I don't like about it. There's too many, like if you can think of anything, think of any niche cult kind of thing, then there'll be 100 people that have a show about it, like on YouTube. So there's like way too much to compete with. But yeah.
So for the folks that are out there listening, man, give me 2 movies that you would suggest. Somebody who wants to get into horror movies or wants to see a good horror movie, give me 2 movies that they should check out.
New or old, or does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, Jesus.
Have you seen him? Where's he at?
Yeah. If you're somebody that really isn't into horror films, or you're just kind of like casually into horror films, and you want to get like, more into horror films, I guess, then Jesus, you can't go wrong with shit like any Texas Chainsaw, the first three especially. And I would even throw stuff in there like Madman and The Forest and Just Before Dawn. Like that's the kind of slasher films that I think were great in the 80s, like that era of them too.
Oh, Children of the Corn.
Yeah, like stuff like that. There's a lot of great unknown stuff from that time period too. Yeah. And we were just watching a film here recently too. If you like bizarre, kind of hilariously campy horror shit, then I would say like Spookies and Don't Panic. Like those two films are just schlocky and fun camp kind of movies too.
Folks, please get out and subscribe to BODS Mayhem Hour podcast, and I will show you where it's at here if I can find it here. I think my thing's all messed up. Anyway, yeah. Well, I've been off for a couple of weeks. I've not done my podcast, and some of this is not right. So anyway, I'll fix it for next Friday. But please subscribe to BODS Mayhem Hour podcast. I would truly appreciate it. And, if I get up to like 1,000 subscribers soon, I'll probably eat the sandwich and sing Baby Shark without my shirt and all that good stuff. We could make a horror movie about Baby Shark.
That's true. I'm surprised somebody hadn't done that.
Oh, yeah. But please check out our Facebook page too. In DEADPIT Universe, go there. You'll find everything, all DEADPIT Radio stuff. You guys have shirts for sale. They have all kinds of stuff on there, like old podcasts, old interviews, what they got coming up now. So these guys.
If you want to go back and listen, like we interviewed John Carpenter, George Romero, Tom Savini, Joe Dante, pretty much anybody you can think of that was big during that time period in the 80s and 90s. We've got them on there.
I got one last question. What interview did you guys do that you were so stoked about, just absolutely just flattened out?
Fuck. That's a good question.
It's like, that didn't go as planned.
That's a great question, man. There was a couple where we were so close to getting it, and then like at the last minute they either canceled or something happened. Like I can think of two like that. Where it was like we talked to Wes Craven's assistant, and she was like, "Yeah, like he would love to do it, and we're gonna set it up." And then like the last fucking minute, like he just for whatever reason just canceled, and then he's passed away since then. We never got to interview him. And then Danielle Harris, there was from the Halloween movies, Halloween 4 and 5, she was a little kid.
Yeah,
and we she was like, "Yeah, I want to do it. It's great." And we had like a fucking power outage when we were getting ready to do it. And then I think she thinks that we just like stood her up, and she still won't talk to us or anything. Really.
Oh, wow.
Like those are two, like we've had some interviews where I'll tell you one, like right off the top of my head, Sherry Moon Zombie, where I was like, we were super fucking excited to do that interview. And like, and it was like, I hate to say it, man, but it was like talking to a board or something. Like she had zero personality, no charisma, didn't really want to talk about it, very short answers and stuff like that. And it was a real bummer for us. Cause like that was kind of big at that time. I think she was like one of the first in the first year or two we were doing the show,
That's always disappointing, man. Cause I've even had that happen. I mean, I'm sure all of us have, but it sucks, but hey, you know what, dude? Put that interview up and let people see how they really are. Then I'll come back. Oh, they want to redo the interview. Nope.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And that was like, I thought for sure that would kind of be an end to do one with Rob Zombie too. Like I thought that would be, kind of work out that way, but it never did.
Yeah, I figured you guys would have got Rob Zombie before I would. I still ain't got Rob Zombie.
He may eventually, he's got like the Munsters coming out. Like, so he might do something around that. That's kind of when you got to catch them, is when they got some sort of project they want to hawk.
Well,
yeah.
Supposedly, I put requests in like that, and they're like, they don't have the time right now. Like, they're doing interviews right now. I love coming back and people like that. They're like, they're not doing anything right now. They're like, they're busy right now. They're doing
No.
podcasts left and right.
No, they're not. They're not. Yeah.
It's like Alice Cooper, man. I was supposed to have Alice Cooper on here, and they come back and said he don't do podcasts. Unfortunately, I went, yeah, he does. I can send you a list of podcasts that he's done. If you don't want to do my show, that's fine. I don't care. Just be straight up.
Everybody does podcasts now. Like, I don't know that many people that don't, you know.
Is there still anybody on the bucket list for you guys that you want?
Lord, yeah. I mean, I just recently, like, trying to get in preparation for Halloween to email like several different people that I thought would be good interviews that we've never done, and just never got any kind of reply. Like the two that I just recently interviewed were Jessica Harper, who was the lead in Suspiria, because I love the Argento movies and things like that. Didn't hear shit back from her, and Danielle Harris, oddly enough, and in that one I was like, hey, like, we originally had an interview with you, but we fucked that up. Like, you want to do another one? And she never replied. But like, there's very few people that we've never, like, that are alive now, because I would have loved to have done Craven or Toby Hooper, but they're both gone, so that's not a possibility anymore. I would love to do like some of the newer guys, like Ari Aster. I would love to have him on. The guy that directed The Witch and Lighthouse, Robert Eggers, I would love to have him on. As far as the old school people go, there's not many that we didn't interview back in the day.
That's so awesome, dude. I'm trying. I try like hell, but you know just what I do, Uncle Bill. It just sometimes it works out, sometimes it don't, brother. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can. It seems to me it's got a lot to do with timing, like when you send a request and what they're doing, and, like, you know, if they got something to promote, it all kind of factors into a lot of this stuff. And some people just don't want to fucking do it. Like, I've come to that conclusion.
Yeah, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But at least just be straight up when they email back. Oh, man, unfortunately, I don't want to do interviews. Just be straight up.
There's very few people I've ever known that do like shit, that just straight up will tell you, no, I don't want to do it. Like, they'll pussyfoot around it forever and however way they want to, you know. But yeah, it would be great to get a straight answer like that from some of these people.
Yeah, there was a punk band I actually loved, and I'm like you, man. My mind's going blank right now. But I reached out, and he just said he just basically come back in a nice way and said, "Unfortunately, man, I would love to do your podcast." He said, "I just don't do interviews because I end up pissing somebody off or saying something wrong or whatever." He said, "But if I ever do, I'll definitely got you in my top 10." So I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. Well, maybe that's true. Maybe he just gets on there and like talk shit for an hour, which in a way would be exciting.
That would be fun, though.
Yeah. That'd be a great show.
Folks, like I said, please get out and subscribe to BODS Mayhem Hour on YouTube, and plus like our Facebook page, and do the same for DEADPIT. You can find them on, just type in DEADPIT Radio and on YouTube, and plus Dead Universe for Facebook. They got their website. Everything's up there. Please go and support these guys. I've known these guys for, God, I don't know, 10 years now. I've known you guys since I've been doing all this stuff. And I love what these guys do. They are OGs, and they keep it real like I do. So
we're kind of cut from the same cloth. It's like, you're the music and we're the horror, and those things always kind of intermingle. So
that's very true. So I want to just say thank you guys. Happy Halloween. I want to thank my special guest, Uncle Bill from DEADPIT Radio, for being on BODS Mayhem Hour, 9th annual Halloween bash. Happy Halloween to all you ghouls and goblets out there. See you all next Friday, hopefully.
See you, man.